Okay, this is our part 2 video for the transformations unit. So we are going to start talking about the vocab for transformation and the introductory vocab for this in part 2. So a transformation, remember that trans means across, or transformation really means to change. So a transformation is an operation that maps. Mapping is just moving or changing a geometric figure in the same way to produce a new figure. Okay, so really it's just looking at one figure and moving it or changing it in a way mathematically to a new figure. That first figure, the original figure, is called the pre-image. Okay, so the figure that you start with is called the pre-image, and the image is the new figure. Okay, and you'll catch me every once in a while talking about the image and the post-image, and that's just not correct. So the pre-image is the one that you're starting with, and the image is the new figure. So transformations can happen in lots of different ways. We can have transformations of figures like the alphabet, where maybe we are going to slide it and go from F to F prime. And this image right here is going to be the pre-image, the image that we started with. And after our translation, our final image is going to be that F prime. And we're going to put that little prime to indicate that that is after the movement. Okay. The other thing that we can have when we are talking about transformations, we're not going to talk about a lot in this unit about this, but are dilations, and that's changing the size of your image. So maybe we go back to those handy dandy right triangles. Okay, and we're going to shrink that down to that size. Okay, that would be an example of a transformation. Other transformations might include rotations and reflections, or any combination. Something we're not going to do, we're not going to take like the letter F and we're not going to transform it to a P. Okay, that just is mathematically not going to be real easy to explain. So keeping things similar, but changing or moving them. So when we do transformations, okay, the actual action is called rigid motion. Well, this is one type of transformation. We've got dilations, which is shrinking or expanding, and we'll talk about that later. But rigid motion is the type of transformation we're going to focus on, and that means that we're going to keep its same shape and size. Okay, so orientation is going to be different, but it's going to keep its same shape or size. So the pre-image and the image will be congruent. Okay, they are going to be congruent, congruent figures. All right, so with a rigid motion, we're going to be talking about congruent figures moving. For example, we can take our F again, and we can, maybe we'll reflect it this time, but in the end, we are going to get two figures that are congruent. We are not going to take our F and shrink it or enlarge it. Okay, that's going to be a dilation, and that would not be using rigid motion. Okay, so rigid motion is the verb. I'm not sure I used it correctly throughout all of that, but that's the actual action that you're doing. The actual transformation is called an isometry. So that is the noun. So a transformation that preserves length, angle measures, parallel lines, and distance between points on a figure. Okay, this is the image after rigid motion. And basically for our examples and our non-examples, we can just look up to rigid motion. Okay, so see rigid motion on our examples and our non-examples. Okay, so that's going to take us into our first transformation, which is going to be a translation, and then that's going to wrap up this video. So our first type of rigid motion transformation is a translation, and a transformation moves every point of a figure the same distance in the same direction. This is the easy way to remember it, is this is a slide. We're going to take our F, which is going to be our pre-image, and we are going to slide it whatever direction you choose to a new location, and that is going to be our image of F prime. Okay, notice that they stay congruent. Okay, so figures are congruent. And the orientation did not change. So this is not a reflection, and this is not a rotation. Okay, so those will be two other types of transformations that we're going to talk about in a few minutes. All right, that is the end of video 2. Tune into video 3 for our other types of transformations.